Hi guys, welcome to my session about how to migrate from old 4D to the new 4D Pro. Or let me say, I will try to show you the best way. And again, I'm still Achim and I'm still working for 4D Germany. Who of you has already migrated or is trying to migrate from old 4D to 4D Pro? You started already or are you ready? You started. How long did you elaborate on this now?
I stopped before the current version because of pictures.
Okay. 2 weeks, 2 months?
Well, I've been looking at it
okay.
Months, but lately
Okay. And you, I think?
Yeah, same thing. We worked on it for a couple months.
Okay, fine. Today we do not want to talk about new features in 4D Pro, or let me say nearly not. There has been 2 or 3 different sessions. We had a keynote session, we had a session over there in the other room in the morning, we had a session here, all speaking about new features of 4D Pro. I'm not interested in new features. I want to explain you how you can do the things in 4D Pro that you before did in the old 4D. And the ideas and the concepts behind the 4D. I hope you will see that the ideas or concepts will not be so different than it was before. But as ever, the devil is in the detail. It is different and you have maybe to relearn a bit, but let us see. Only if you know the new concepts of 4D Pro, you will be able to migrate quickly and migrate on the correct way and choose the best approach for migration. We will talk about all this. No, I'm kidding you. The time is too short to talk about all this. This is the content of my, in the moment, still growing 4D Pro migration training from old 4D. Lots of issues. Here, because the time is short, we can only speak about the most important issues. But no problem. It was important for me that you have all the material on your USB key. I don't know if someone has been in my session yesterday, so I can tell you again. On the USB key for this session, you have more material that I can present you with a complete description how it works, with a background and a complete step-by-step description how to play with the demos to get the right, let me say, effect. Before starting our demo, let's talk a bit about basics. While the old 4D was a plugin, or let me say an external program, 4D Pro is completely embedded into 4D as a native form object with easy communication possibilities with this form object from the programming and full control by your 4D programming. If you use it as a variable in a form, you have to declare it before with the compiler command C object. Yes, 4D Pro is internally an object with the ability to be rendered as a document on screen. Yeah, to be rendered as a document on screen. After the type declaration, you have to define it that it shall be a 4D Pro document with the command WP new. And you can give a lot of different parameters. We will see the different possibilities of parameters within the session. But if you see it is an optional, source is an optional parameter, you see it for the curly brackets. If you don't give any parameter, you will open a new empty document and you have to do all what shall be inside by yourself. Because it is a 4D object type, you can also define it, the document, on screen with the command new object, as if you would define an object in your programming, in a variable. We come back later on using 4D commands with 4D Pro. As you know it from the old 40Write, you can bind your 40Write Pro area in a form directly to the fields, object fields in this case, in your structure by certain naming conventions. In the old 40Write, it was one name has to had an underscore at the end and the other name not, and it has to be a blob field. It could be a picture field, but who has picture fields for 40Write Pro? I hope no one. You? Great. This is now easier because there is no more underscore. You don't have to think about, do I have the underscore put in the field name or in the error name? It doesn't matter anymore. Okay. We are on time. Then we will start with the demo section. We have V17 here for presenting, not the V70R2 as Laurent Ribadier used. All what I need is contained in the 70.0, which is beta since yesterday, I think, or today. Well, it's better now. And I used the 32-bit version, not because the 64-bit version is unstable, but because I have a part of my demo is to show old 40Write and new 40Write side by side, and therefore I need the 32-bit version, because the old 40Write is only 32-bit. So let's start with the demo. And I want to load 40Write to fill the 40Write Pro area in my screen by using an kind of HTML text. Let me say 4D HTML text. And this text I load from a document on disk. By document to text, I put it in a HTML variable, and this variable I use as a parameter for the command wp-new. And you see the result. The result doesn't matter if it is a nice document with text over the full size with a picture and text besides the picture and a background picture, and at the bottom some 4D functions as references. So these things maybe you know from the old 40Write, but this is now 40Write Pro. And what we will do is we want to have a look in the debugger what you can see of the 40Write Pro area here. And before, it was not possible at all to have any idea in the debugger what is in your old 40Write area. You could not see anything. Yes, it was possible to open an external window. If you maybe created a document step by step in an off-screen area, you had an external window or could debug in an external window to see exactly what happens. But external windows are old, version 2, and you should not use it anymore. In other words, there was not really a chance to debug. Yes, we can. Here we have the 40Write Pro area. You can see it in one line. I will see it in one line. And can you read what is in? Can you read it better if I enlarge it? I always miss the key. And I think, no, you cannot read it. So what we do is we open it, and now you can read it much better. Here you have different information, lots of attributes inside this 40Write Pro document object as information, as author information, or background information, or border information, or column information, margin information, and lots of things. And you can not only see this here and check if it might be okay, you can modify values here and have directly and see directly the effect in the 40Write Pro area after closing the debugger again. So, but now you could ask me where's the content? Oh, content, for example, in the second line. All of the style text commands will work with the 40Write Pro area. And so I can get the plain text content and see it here in one line, of course. Does it help? Maybe not, but you can see if the document is too large, it will not help you really. But I will tell you, you can use commands from other 4D chapters from the 4D programming manual to use with 40Write Pro. Or you could say st set text, and it would return all of your raw text, including span text for formatting. Is this enough for you? Okay, if not, I will show you a second thing. We want to view or to display the complete HTML for the HTML source code in the text variable below. And I do this by a command wp export variable. In this case, I use it for reasons of, I say in my sample debugging, but you can do it if you have a letter created in FortiWrite Pro, to write it out as an external file, to put it as attachment, as HTML attachment for an HTML email, for example, using SMTP quicksend. Okay, but here you have the content, and you see it starts with header information and some other things, CSS definitions. Okay, here are no CSS definitions. Then the body starts. Shall I enlarge it a bit? So, but it doesn't matter what you see. And next here follows the background image and the other nice image, automatically decoded as base 64. And at the end, you see here the reference section, the current date, and over here the current time. These are the information you can see here. Okay, looks it familiar for you? No? Looks it for nothing? We will see. You can not only view the content, if you really need to read this stuff here, because you know this HTML code, and you want to say, okay, here must be an error, or here I want to change values, you could do this. Let's change the padding over here from 28 to 128, and then I will write it back to my FortiWrite Pro area by WP new, and I give the HTML as source that it shall be displayed. And if we have a look at the result, you see it works. And what we do manually, of course, we will see it later on, you can do by programming. It was only the first step. Let's have the different ways, a look at the different way to bring content in a FortiWrite area without doing all manually. On the left side, there is a styled text field. In this styled text field, we have some text and lots of references. If we have a look at these references, here you can see we have a variable reference, a project method reference, for D function reference, a current date, string, a field reference, the amount field of the customers table, and some more. And if we want to bring this into FortiWrite Pro, yes, it works, no problem. We give it as parameter for WP new. And if we go on, all is there. All references are there, all looks the same, and still all references are live references. Very easy. So, which commands which for D commands work with FortiWrite Pro? If you have a look, or if you are familiar with the old FortiWrite Pro, you know that there is a big number of commands, WR commands, that are used for programming. And as you have heard in the session this morning, there are only a small number of special WP commands, so FortiWrite Pro commands, to do some things. So how to do things if you have only a small number of commands? Very easy, because you can use all 4D commands, all existing 4D commands that you well know, and well know how to use them in FortiWrite Pro. Okay, maybe not all, but all that makes sense. For example, the style text command, I already told you. All of the style text command can be used in FortiWrite Pro. Because the underlying multistyle text engine is the same. Of course, it's no miracle, yes? String manipulation commands, entry control commands. But let us see with a small example. What we before have seen in the multistyle text area on the left side, or when I imported this document with WP new in the PhotoWrite Pro area, you remember there was a certain text with certain references. Now we will do the same by programming directly in the PhotoWrite Pro area. I need a bit of water. So let's start. Again, I will have a certain static text in my PhotoWrite Pro area, and with WP new and this source text as parameter, multistyle text, I fill the area. Then I use some of the one of the style text commands, namely stset attribute, to define a different font style, a different text size, and a different text color. With the next lines, with the string commands of for D, I search for a certain word, for the word some in my text. And if I have found this word, I use again the st commands to format this single word in a different way. After this, I insert again with the st insert expression command all these kinds of expression that we have seen before in the area. Again, here I use the length command, and at the end, with the command highlight text, command from the entry control chapter, I select all. And if we finish this, exactly the same as before. No, not exactly. It's selected. And before it was not selected. And again, if we show the references, this works. Same references as before, live references. And normally, if you have created Write Pro letter by programming and want to save it, you freeze the references, that the references stay static and not will change if you a year later open your letter. You can do the same here. st style text command freeze expressions of the PhotoWrite Pro area. And if you check, there are no more references or values. I can click. So what can we do else? All object get set commands that make sense work. In the first subchapter of the object get set commands, you have a list which object commands will work with PhotoWrite Pro. And in this case, I simply want to set the horizontal alignment, and afterwards get the horizontal alignment and return this using an alert, and you see it works. What else works? For example, all the spell checker commands included in 4D. Not only spell checking, but also to configure the spell checker. And I configure the spell checker in English, and then I start spell checking. And what he finds is the first word obere, it means upper. It's a German address, and in German we have no upper Main Street, but an obere Hauptstraße. Who wants to learn German? Short course. And then we could modify it, and yeah, also this works. So, and now, what is with your old PhotoWrite programming? For example, often used command is wr find to find words in a text. So all these commands do not work anymore. What can you do? You can, yes, it's 4 lines of code instead of 1 line of code before. You have to rewrite it in pure 4D code, or you can rewrite it. We have not planned to write a wrapper for these old commands, because it makes not really sense, because there are different ways to come to the same goal, depending on which conditions you have inside your document or so. And therefore, it didn't make sense to write a wrapper. And so we decided not to put resources in this. But for the most used commands, for example, like WR find, you have wrappers, not really wrappers, you have ready-to-use methods, utility methods you can find in the knowledge base for several things, okay? And honestly, nearly no one asked for a code wrapper, yeah? Okay, and to see that it works, the word sum is highlighted. So it works the same with 4 lines of code instead of 1 line of code. And you can control the area with all 4D form events that are possible. So you have control about all the user does and much more. A next point is working with off-screen areas. I think all of you that work with 4D Write, with the old 4D Write, will work with off-screen areas created by the command WR off-screen area. And these areas only exist in main memory and are not rendered on screen to save time. Yes, to save time. Because if you not need rendering, why should you do rendering? These areas were very important and often used, for example, to build complete documents step by step, as I told you before, without being displayed. When the document is finally created, you can copy it into the visible 4D Write Pro, 4D Write Old area, excuse me, to check how it looks. But you do not have to do. You use it, for example, print invoices automatically overnight without any user interaction. Create the invoice in the different steps, include the record address from the current customer to send the invoice, and print it without any interaction. Or writing an email without any interaction, or some other things. Customers called the hotline and said, I need the off-screen areas very urgently. When do you implement these off-screen areas again in 4D Write Pro? I'm waiting for this. I cannot migrate. Yes, maybe it's not clearly to see. They are there. 4D Write Pro is stored in an object, C object. So C object, the object variable, is your off-screen area. But we will see it in a moment. Okay, we will see it now. The first very simple example, the same code than before. I load some HTML context from a document on the disk and want to put it with WP new in a new document. Is the size big enough? Can you all see the size? The text? Okay. But here I have created before with C object. I named it $offscreen. That's my off-screen area. And WP new, I create the document without rendering in my off-screen area. The same as before, only with a command with a different name. And then you see, do something here. Here you can modify your document, and if you now want to check if the document contains what you wanted, you copy it simply with the OB commands to the on-screen area. OB copy over there. In other words, you can use all OB commands from the objects language commands chapter in the manual with 4D Write Pro. And you see that the result is the same than before. But this was a bit easy. I want to make it a bit more complicated, but only a bit more complicated. So again, we fill the off-screen area. The first 4 lines are the same as on the button before. Then I extract the raw text to format it later on differently by using stgetPlainText. I now have the raw text in a local variable. I clear my off-screen area. WP new without any parameter clears it. I insert the raw text into the off-screen area. And then I create a so-called range. 1, 2 sentences, what is a range? It is a thing you never had in the old 40 write. In the old 40 write, you had a document, or you had a certain selection of characters in the document. That was all. This was a proprietary kind of variable, the old 40 write on the screen, or also off-screen area. 40 write Pro as an object is a bit different. You have an object that is constructed internally like every other object in 4D also, but with certain formatting. And so this object contains not only the text, but all formatting options and things for background and margins and font size and what else. And if the user would select one word, one line, one character simply with the mouse, this is not such a range, but this is only a selection of 5, 6, 10, 20 characters, nothing more. If you would copy this, you have only the characters. If you want to make more work with these text and all its formatting, you have to create a range from it with WP create range. Can you follow me? Okay. And this range now contains, of course, the selected characters and all the formatting. All formatting, all margins, all pictures, all elements that 40 write Pro can contain. Also, tables, paragraphs, I said, pages, sections, what else? Pictures, I said, I think. Yeah, then I can print it from the off-screen area without any dialogue. And to control it, I could copy it on screen again, and we will see the result in a moment. Here is the result. Okay, the green and the gray is maybe not, is it clear to see? Maybe I should better have used yellow on red, or don't know. I said it yesterday, I was never the guy for nice interfaces. I'm the guy to explain things, how it works internally. To make things nice, there are other guys, or you maybe, to sell it to your customers. So, but nevertheless, we have a part of the text is big and green, the other part is small and black, and we have a gray background. Okay, and we also see it here. Now, in the last 1.5 days, all the guys here on the stage are talking about object notation. And yes, you can use it in 40 write Pro, 40 write Pro. And I do it here. To get the text back to my off-screen area, because it's a local off-screen area variable, and if the method has gone, the variable has gone, so I copy the text from the on-screen area again in the off-screen area, and then I want to work in the off-screen area with a dot notation. And there are different cases what you can do. I will make it a bit bigger here. Author. $offscreen.author. I'm not sure if you have seen it before when we had a look in the debugger. The author is one attribute in the object if you have a 40 write Pro document. And if I write, normally it's empty, and now if I execute this line, it is created by me. I'm the author. Or if you use an attribute name that does not exist, for example, my attribute, I can insert a certain status, what I made with this document. For example, it was printed and sent by mail. Or I can set existing attributes, font family, for example, if I want to change the font. So to use this object notation, you have to know, you have to be aware these things are case sensitive. And if you write it differently, it's a different attribute, and some other things will work, but not what you hope that should work. In this case, you should use this syntax. And now you could say, okay, this syntax is not a real object notation. No, that's wrong. It's a real object notation. It's not a dot notation, but it's an object notation. If you have a look at JavaScript, for example, these square brackets are often used in case of if you want to use constant names, for example. Here we have a 40 right pro constant. There are a huge number of 40 right pro constants that you can use this way. Or you could use variables. You have a variable, and in a loop you go through this command and fill the variable with different contents, with different things you want to set. Only this way you can work generic. And afterwards we copy it back to the on-screen, and then you can see that it has worked. The author has been set to Achim. I request the information also by dot syntax. The status, my own status, has been set, printed and sent by email, or now I have a different font. And if we go back, you see that it's really a different font, yeah. And also the small font, the black font, is different. It's a handwriting font. Okay. And next important point for us is, a very important point for us, is the conversion of your old 40 right documents. We try to convert these documents as good as possible. To achieve this goal, we asked you, maybe not you personally, but you in general, to give us big documents, to give us your complex documents, to give us documents with lots of different references, or even to give us documents that will fail when you try to convert them. In this, you should give us the documents in as externally stored 40 right, old 40 right document with frozen references, and then we check the conversion and we will see what we can do for you. We don't need your database, we don't need your references. As far as you have not a problem with the references, that's a different case. Okay. Let's have a look at an example. It's a simple example, but it contains all what is needed to contain. On the right side, old 40 right pro. And this is the reason why I needed the 32-bit version. Here we have a header text. We have a free-placed picture in the header on the right side. We have some text. We have an inline picture over there. And on the bottom, we have some footer text. And you can see that we have some references here. Yeah. Similar as what we have seen before in the multistyle text field. And we want to convert this to the new 40 right pro. WP new. This command we find in all the buttons I press here in my demos. And this time we give a blob field, the blob field with the old 40 right document inside. And here we are. That's all. So if you not yet have checked conversion of old documents, try. One thing, and all references are kept, all styles are kept, all font sizes are kept, all is kept. If you have documents and you will fail, as I told you, send us the documents. Then we can try to help you and try to make our conversion better. So no, not us, especially to me, but your local support guys. Yeah. So some points when the conversion might fail. Important points, I think. It does not work if your documents are still in picture fields. So in this case, the picture fields have to be converted with the old 40 right before the conversion. Okay. The documents might have been created with a very old version of 40 right pro, a very old version that had errors, that had bugs, that had complete different ways of working, or what else. In this case, you would have had problems to open it with a current 40-write old version. So you have to care about the bugs before conversion. I think it should be clear. They contain old fonts, not true type, not open type. In this case, the system APIs replace the font by any font the system thinks, oh, it might be the good one. But it might not be the good one in most cases because you have different character widths and suddenly breaks where you not wanted breaks. And in this case, you have to find a font that not the system destroys your document by choosing a font the system likes, but you have to design a font that works correctly with the character width. It's no problem of the conversion at all. Or you have old QuickTime pictures. Okay, please search a 40-write version that supports QuickTime, search for a system that supports QuickTime, and and with the old 40-write, convert these pictures from QuickTime format to, let me say, modern format. And then you can convert it to the 40-write Pro. In the other case, the picture references would be empty. And yeah, this I said already. What do I have forgotten? Okay, but the same. It's not only a problem of old 40-write. It can happen with very old Word documents, converting to a new Word version. It might happen to very old PDF documents. And it even happens to security copies on your old floppy disks. Maybe you have no computer anymore with a floppy connected, then you have a problem. Okay, nevertheless, if you have problems, send the documents to us. How many minutes left?
About 18.
18? 18.
1-8, yeah.
Oh, so much. Okay, let's have a look at bookmarks. They talked about bookmarks today, so I will not explain you what bookmarks are. This is a document with some bookmarks. Maybe you have seen one of the HDI samples, how do I samples with bookmarks. Here we have some bookmarks. I want only to show you where the bookmarks are and to show you again what a bookmark is. We enlarge this a bit. And here we have the metadata of our document from the left side in HTML code. And you see the bookmark section. We have a bookmark named Introduction. And this bookmark goes from character 1 to 138. Do you see any style information here? I also not. So there is no. That was what I wanted to tell you. And you can get all bookmarks, and you can click on a bookmark, and then the bookmark can be with a... and now here we have the same problem as we had before. Not a problem, way of working. How will I come from a selection of characters, a selection of raw characters, to a range that I can work with WP commands, with 40-write Pro commands on this part, on this object, by creating a range from the bookmark. And therefore, we have a special command, WP get bookmark range. Create a range from these characters, from 0 to 138, for example. And then WP select, we hand over this range to work with the range. To select it, to format it, to delete it. Okay, and here we see, for example, the result. So, but this is all for bookmarks. Now imagine you want to create documents from templates. I'm sure that lots of you work with old 40-write templates to create your documents. You could have one big template, open it in an off-screen area and automatically insert the customer address, or open it in a screen area, and your user can insert some values, and then he can print it, or what else. Yes, that's possible in the old 40-write. This is also possible in the new 40-write Pro. but I will not show you this way because it is not the modern way. It's the old way. It's the old 40 right way projected to 40 right pro. I have a problem with this. Maybe I have my templates in records or in external documents on disk. If I want to create a document from several templates, I have to search for a record, load the record, copy the document, insert it in my off-screen area. Or search a document on disk, load the document, copy the content in my clipboard, insert it in my off-screen area or on-screen area. And that is a waste of unnecessary programming time for me. And another point is the clipboard. I might destroy the clipboard content of the customer, so I have to care about the clipboard content. I have to save it before. And when I'm ready, I have to restore it. And if it might happen in a multi-user application on my machine, not multi-user, sorry, multi-process application on my machine, it could happen that I destroy the clipboard. And yeah, I hate this, so I will show you the new way. I load again the text with bookmarks. The same text than before. I get the bookmark list, and I init my document on the right as an empty document. It was empty before, but it was not initialized as an empty document. Only WP new without parameter initializes it as an empty document. And then, for example, I select the regions bookmark. So I will take over this bookmark to my new document. First, as we have seen it before, from this selection of characters, I have to create a bookmark range. Okay, we spoke about this. Then I want to insert this bookmark range into the other new document. But I cannot transfer a range into a document. I can transfer a document into a document. But that's very easy. You must only know it. Then you will save lots of time that I wasted to investigate this. I create from this range a document part, WP new. From the range, a document. And then we go to the new document on the right side. Right side. Create an empty range. So let me say an object at the current cursor position. A real object. And then I can insert the document by WP insert document, and here's the result. And if you want to, for example, now append after this bookmark the introduction part from the left side, we do it with the same command. And because I create always the range at the end of all what is already there in the new document, it is always inserted at the end, and then it looks this way. Now you might want, or your user might want to insert it not at the end, but at the beginning. What will we do? Place the cursor at the beginning? No, we don't need this. We press the second button. And the first lines is the same than before, and the new range to insert the document, now I create at the beginning of the document in front of all text. And insert my introduction in front of the text. And if the user should decide, oh, I want to do it here, then I have a button for this. And here I ask for the selection. Where is the cursor? And then I create a range at the cursor position. In this case, using the dot notation, the object notation, and insert it at the cursor position. And we have it at the cursor position. Fine. So, and the last thing, I want to show you how to create a document dynamically, completely from scratch. I think most of you will do this also in the old 40 right, and I will show you how it works here. I only want to show you once how it could look, and will show you how nice interfaces or documents I'm able to create. So it's great, or? A first page, here we have, I show you immediately. So printout we don't want. Here you see one of two. This is the page numbering in the new 40Write Pro. It is done by so-called, let me say, 40Write Pro system variables. I simply insert these two variables with these names. The first one is the current page number. I have a slash between them. And the next one is the maximum number of pages. And so I have one of 2 pages in the header. Very simple. And let's go back. And here we have 2 of 2. So, but one point, it does not work anymore, as it also is in Word, for example, to have page numbering in the body. It does not work anymore. If you convert such a document, you have no more a page count in the body, only header or footer. We are discussing about, but I don't know the result. Then I have a title. I have only for filling reasons. I want to speak about tables because it's new. Therefore, I will not show you, I will not explain you really how it works with a freely placed picture. And here, same again, a title, a break, some dummy text, and a true background picture filling the whole page. So we will call this code again. No, we don't want to call this code again. I want to close, because it's the last demo, I want to close it and show you this method in design mode. So I will go through this quick. You have all this, you have the complete explanation, only to give you an idea. I open, in this case, no empty document. I open a template that I have loaded in an object field in a record. Why? Because there are so much things that I could set, like the initial font size, the initial font, the initial style, the zoom size, the margins, the basic margins, and so on and so on. If I do this for every new document I create, I have to call 10 or 20 setting commands, and I will not do this. I made this template document manually and saved it on screen, and it's only one command, and I have all my initial settings in this new document. Then I focus on the frame. There was a similar command in old 40Write, WR set frame or set header, I forgot it. But you could focus on the header, and then I insert some text. Here I insert the page number, the backslash, and the total number of pages. Then I do the same with the footer. And then I focus. I then have to compute expressions once to start the initial page counting from scratch. Next, I set my focus to the body and insert the body. I insert different text. Then I always create, if I insert something, I enlarge the range. So all I have inserted is in a range without creating the new range later on. You could do it later, but you can do it immediately for all you do, for all you insert. Then I insert some page breaks. The page breaks include themselves in the range if I want it. Then I insert some plain text. Next, I insert some attributes to have a bold title. And I only do it now and not before, because I think you know, when you write the text, if you format it immediately, you have all formatting attributes in the break mark. And if you then make a line break, you have all formatting attributes in the next line also, and I do not want it. Therefore, I write my first text, and then I go back and format the first line. But it's the same way of working as before. Again, I actualize my range. I insert the next break, and so on and so on. And here, the table. But this is a new feature, the table. Therefore, I want not to show it. And then I create the background picture over there. No, not the background picture. Only the picture is named background picture. The picture is all the same for me. I add a freely placed picture. And yeah, again a break, but this time a section break. Then I fill the text with breaks and so on for the next page. And last but not least, I now include the background picture here. And the very important thing for including pictures is, before you always inserted a picture, it doesn't matter if a background picture or not, inside the page or in the background or somewhere, and then you had to set the coordinates and the size explicitly. In the new PhotoRite Pro, you can assign it to a so-called box, the header box, the footer box, the page box, page filling, complete page filling, the text box, the border box, or what else? Margin box, I think, is the last one. And if the box is modified from position, from size, also the picture does so. Very easy. It saves a lot of work for you. So, and that's it. To finalize it, I want to do a short recap. This was a short, and I hope a deep view inside the new PhotoRite Pro into the concepts of the new PhotoRite Pro. Yes, the way of working might be differently compared to the old PhotoRite, but the overall principles are mostly the same. But in consequence, you have to learn a new program if you want so. But because you can access a big bunch of existing 4D commands that you already know, we hope that the learning curve is quite small for you. Yes, I said it already. And converting, start now. Start now, don't wait. Converting is not a one-day job. Truly not. Don't wait until the macOS forces you to convert if they stop 32-bit, if they stop Coca. Not in OS 10.13, but maybe in 10.14. We do not know. We simply do not know. Be prepared. If your customer comes, oh, I have a new Mac with a new system, and 4D doesn't run. Yes, you have the system is too new. What now? Yeah, go to the old system. Are you crazy? So be prepared. Convert now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Try now. It's an investment into the future. Yes, I said it already. And are there any questions? Mike? Not mic, but microphone.
A question on using OBGet and OBSet with, is that only for the objects or the range object or the document object or both?
As you can, OBGet and OBSet works on attributes that are inside, that exist inside the PhotoRite document, or PhotoRite Pro object. That's the better word. Yeah. And with OBSet or get, you can set or get all these values if they have been set.
Then it wouldn't make sense to use it on a range object.
Yes, yes. Now I understand your question. Some short words for this. The complete document is an object. A range object is also an object, but a sub-object. The range object has different attributes than the complete objects. The complete objects has more attributes. So, for example, margin objects, margin settings. A range can have margin settings, but the whole document can also have margin settings that can be different from the range. Only the object, only the complete document has information settings like author, created date, created time, and so on, but not the sub-object. So there is a difference. But the commands OBGet and set can use for both, for the sub-object or for the range as a sub-object or for the document as a big object. Okay? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. A second question. You're suggesting best practices would be to not hand code, each attribute in a document that you're generating, but to create templates that then you copy to insert the data into.
Yep.
How are there any upper limits on 4D Write Pro? Like how many thousand pages before it? Is it internal memory, the 4 gigabyte internal memory?
Yes, there is a limit. The limit is, as in a 64-bit version, for all big data fields, 2 gigabyte. A lot of pages. Next one, please.
Currently, we're on version 15, so I'm wondering to go to 16 or 17, what version do you recommend going to before starting or finishing this process, or vice versa?
I'm a director of technical support, and I'm not the guy going to the phone and, hi, how can I help you? It is not, I cannot say go to 17 or not. It also depends what have you in your application. I don't know if you have a silver contract or not. Yeah, do you have one?
Yep.
Oh,
So we
great.
automatically-
Then you might have half a day or so a code kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah, and in such a code kitchen, you can have a look with a support specialist who knows not only 4D Write Pro, but there are different things between 15 to 16 or 15 to 17, and can have a look. This have you done here, this have you done there, and maybe this could be this done this way, reprogrammed this way, migrated this way, and it's better to switch to this or to that version. I normally would say go to 17.
So go to 17
You will
before
have
doing
some
this.
migration effort in any way. But for me, go to the newest version. Maybe this brings you more problems than if you would go to the 16. But please remember what Thomas Moll, my boss, said this morning. He said, it's better to go not only with 4D, but also with all your operating systems to newest versions. So I cannot say any different. Yes, and here's a question in front.
Hi, this has just been on my mind since I've seen it in the WP insert document. And one of the constants is include in range, exclude from range. What's the purpose of using one or the other?
Okay,
This scenario?
very easy. I told you that I insert some text, I always actualize the range. Then I have all inside one range and can format this range with all content. You might want to do it differently. If I include the range in the break in the range, I also affect the range by formatting options or other options. I can exclude it. If I then take the range and do something with the range, this range has no break because it is not included but excluded. Understand me?
Yeah.
Okay. Question answered?
Yeah. I
Fine.
was just wondering what this scenario was, and that's the
Yeah,
answer.
okay. Or you cannot only append to range, you could also prepend. But that's a different story. If there should be no more questions, many thanks for joining my session, and wish you a nice rest of the summit here, nice evening at the party, maybe we have a glass of wine together, and for these who are on the training tomorrow, enjoy the training tomorrow. Thank you, bye-bye.